Hello everybody and welcome back to another video, and today we are looking at the first season 1 of changes that are coming in. Now these will be effect as of the September the 10th, so in America. If you're in the EU, obviously it'll be the normal reset, so September the 11th once the maintenance drops. So kicking things off, DK. Unholy Decay, all abilities increased by 5%, and they have changed the 4-piece, so haste when summoning the minions reduced to 1% was 2%, to a maximum of 4 was 8. I mean, that's a significant nerf to haste. Jeez, I'm guessing you're just going to counteract this with just more secondary stat overall. Blood Decay, all abilities damage is increased by 5%. Brilliant. And they've changed the 4-piece, damage increased by 0.5% per bone shard was 1%. Demon Hunter Havoc, all damage increased, but they've nerfed the 4-piece. Vengeance, all damage increased, but again they've nerfed the 2-piece. Destro Evoker, all damage increased, and Enhancement, all abilities increased. I do feel like this was actually needed. Like, since they changed the Tempest damage, Enhancement's overall DPS has been like significantly reduced, in my opinion. So having that percentage buff there is quite nice. Now these are the first changes. We have to keep in mind that season 1's not even started, and they've also put the disclaimer in here to say that they'll look forward to additional tunings whilst this has all come out and ready for PvP Mythic Plus and the Mythic Raid release on September the 17th. So we're expecting more buffs and nerfs going into Mythic Week, or like the official week, shall we say. But they don't stop there. They have also introduced a bunch of bug fixes and hotfixes. Now, some people are saying that this is already in place. So if that's the case, then my info is wrong, because in my head this should come out as well with reset, but I feel like this may already be changed. So a bunch of hotfixes. So they fixed the achievement issue preventing the completion of the Deep Helm Raven Shoutout, fixed an issue when you're looting mislaid did not grant you credit. Characters Archmage Khadgar should appear in the Violet Citadel for players progressing through the Legion content. Druid adjusted Druid steady flying so that their speed better matches that of mounts. Evoker Skell Commander fixed an issue where Deep Breath with would apply Terror of Skies twice to enemy targets. Monk fixed an issue causing Aspect of Harmony to deal unexpectedly high damage. I mean, so technically they just nerfed it, right? Like, I get it's a bug, but technically it's just a complete nerf. Paladin fixed an issue that causes modifiers such as Avenging Wrath Mastery to not affect Torch of Light damage effect. Fixed an issue that causes Incandescence's damage to not be increased by modifiers. Fixed an issue causing Consecration's friendly effect to only apply to a single paladin when multiples are in the same group. Fixed an issue that caused Righteous Judgment to cause Consecration to sometimes not grant its friendly effect. Retribution fixed an issue allowing targets to use Grounding Totem or Blink to get out of Hammer of Light. I mean, those NPCs using this 100 IQ strats there, my guys. Priest Disc, Void Weaver, Void Blast will no longer be incorrectly increased by Holy Vision of Twilight Equilibrium. Elemental corrected an issue where damage dealt by Tempest or Tempest Overload was not properly contributing to Lightning Rod damage. Brilliant. Warlock Affliction fixed an issue where Wither did not apply from Death's Embrace. And then the Diabolist fixed an issue where you cannot queue Hand of Gul'dan whilst casting Reunation. Delves, they've just fixed bunch of stuff. Fixed an issue where specific items weren't dropping. Fixed an issue where spore bits could fail to die upon exploding. I mean, that's happened to me once before. That is super annoying. Earthcrawler mines. Earthen can now ingest nearby minerals when clicking on brand campfire for health and mana regen. Fixed an issue that caused the quest to not complete when finishing the delve. Fixed an issue where using the flamethrower torch did not grant credit. Added a button to the scenario tracker to allow players to drop the enchanted candle to theirs holding one. Okay. And added a button to the scenario tracker to allow players to drop the air totem. Dungeons, Priory, Mortal Strike, maximum stacks reduced to 10 in normal difficulty. Defend cooldown increased on normal difficulty. Disrupting Shout. Cast time increased to 3 seconds on all difficulties was 2. And Sacred Toll damage reduced by 20% on normal difficulty. Change the unlock for the Renew Adventure 1 to be Renowned 7 was Renowned 6. Pet battles. Players may not search for PvP pet battles on the Isle of Dawn. Okay. Interesting. PvP Racial Battleground Blitz now contributes to Legion artifact appearance progress. Wait, what? So you can now get the PvP Legion appearances just from doing Battleground Blitz. Okay. Blood DK Heartstrike no longer deals increased damage in PvP, was 20%. Frost Endurance Strength no longer has a reduction effect in PvP. Obliterate no longer deals increased damage in PvP. Unholy reduce the damage in PvP. No longer deals reduced damage and no longer reduces deal damage. Professions fixed an issue where the Hide Seeker's toot recipe now available for crafting orders. The quest Defending the Flame should now reward a Lamplighter supply satchel. Resolve the issue where multiple beetles would spawn in the Scarab Scouting and Truffle Shuffle. And then a bunch of, or these are all of the updates that we had a look at a minute ago. So they're quite nice. And they also went even further. They have done some hotfixes on the raid already, based on feedback from PCR testing, and obviously their own internal testing, right? So the very first boss, Orgrak, damage increased by 22%. Now ticks every 2 seconds. Periodic damage increased by 220% in normal and 300% in heroic and mythic. The acid is increased by 17% in heroic and the venom 28% on heroic. The bloodbound horror shield increased by 50% in heroic and 66% in mythic. Grasp has 2, was 3 max targets. The cone width increased to 70 degrees, was 60 degrees. Damage increased by 33% for mythic. Healing absorb damage increased by 33% in normal and heroic. Periodic damage increased by 14% on mythic. Sikran damage being reduced by 50%. Now takes every 1.5. Unknown radius increased to 5 yards, was 3.5, possibly the radius to hit the clones. Phase Blade's periodic damage increased by 50%, increased by 57% on mythic difficulty. And healing received reduced by 40, was 30. Damage increased by 50% for all difficulties, I'm assuming, on that one. Now increases damage taken from Cosmic Shards by 150%, was 200% on mythic. Now increases damage taken by 25%, was 50%. Okay, nice. And then Brood Twister. The experimental dosage, healing absorb increased by 100%, increased by 50%. Damage of healing absorb increased by 50, 33, and 25. Increased by 33, 66. I mean, to be fair, half of these changes, I would say about 85% of the community, this is going to mean nothing to you, because if you haven't even looked at the raid, you're not going to really understand what's going on. But essentially, for those of you that have never really played a first expansion or first raid, essentially what Blizzard are trying to do is make the content before it actually comes out, trying to make it as balanced as possible based on current statistics with like characters, how geared people are, how much content people have done. Because what you don't want is they have got to find like a weird balance, right? Like they've got to get the normal raid and the heroic raid for heroic week decent enough so that obviously World First Raiders are going to clear all of this content by the time next Wednesday comes multiple times on their splits. But then for like your average guild that's actually progressing normal and heroic, which is essentially, let's face it, this is essentially what they're actually looking at doing these types of buffs and nerfs for. You want it, or they want it to be so that you're not in one of those guilds and you've completed a heroic first week before Mythic even comes out. Because if you have absolutely no kind of oomph to want to go into Mythic, and you clear full heroic with your guild within the first week of heroic week, like Mythic's not even out yet, you're going to be left with twiddling your thumbs for many, many weeks to come if you actually enjoyed raiding. So they have to find that balance. But also for the World First Raiders, if it's way too easy and they're able to just blast through the whole thing, they're going to get their splits done within like a day or two, depending. Especially like normal splits. And then obviously they've got delves to do, which are going to give them even more gear. And then they're just going to go smash heroic. Then they're going to send their crafts. So by the time they hit Mythic week, if it's too easy, they're going to be super pumped in gear with time to spare. They've got to find that balance whereby it's a decent difficulty. So yes, it's still clearable, but it's actually going to be a bit of a pain to clear it. So it actually takes them a decent amount of time. Otherwise, this tier is going to be a total disaster. And let's face it, Blizzard have done a very good job, in my opinion, at the start of this expansion. Like, it's actually been super enjoyable, the content's been really engaging, and there's been a decent amount of content to do. We haven't got any Mythic Pluses, Mythic Zeros, raids or anything out, and like the casual player or somebody that plays every day, you still have things to do. Yes, okay, it's a bit the same thing over and over again, but it's been a decent pace so far. So these are all the changes that are coming in this patch. We will revisit this going into Mythic Week to see what they change, and we're also going to be exploring the amazing announcement of the 20th anniversary of World of Warcraft. That's a huge patch to get hyped for, but at the moment the hype is for Season 1, so this is what we're reviewing today, and I will see you all in the next one. Make sure to leave a like, comment and subscribe. Let me know which boss, if you're interested in raiding, let me know which boss you're looking forward to the most. I personally am looking forward to Sick Run, mostly because it's actually an interesting boss in my opinion. I like mechanics and I like doing different things on bosses. I don't enjoy a boss where it's just a target dummy. But let me know what you guys think, and I will see you all in the next one. Take care.